Hello, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Shaniqua. If you're new, hey sis, hey, and welcome back to my channel. So today is day 4 of the fast. I didn't give any updates yesterday for day 3 because yesterday was pretty chill, pretty laid back. Wasn't really much going on. I did pretty good yesterday. I think yesterday, by being like that midway mark, it just gave me a lot of hope. Like, I got this, I can do this, I'm good. I worked my ebook. The lesson yesterday was good. But I want to talk about this being day 4. Day 4 has not ended yet. It's 4:17 right now. I just got off of work. But since it's coming to an end, I wanted to go ahead and do my update now before I get home. And because see, once I get home, like, everything just it's just a blur. But y'all, the spiritual warfare that I have been experiencing this week has been on 10. Like, it has been just woo. I think I talked about it a little bit in my first update that I gave. But I really want to talk about day 4 because day 4 has been rough, y'all. It has been, I mean, I just feel like I can't even put it into words how day 4 has made me feel. But at the same time, although I have had a stressful day, God has spoke a word to me today that just canceled out every attack of the enemy that I was dealing with today. And I want to share it today because it was so good to me. It was so profound that I was like, my God, like, this is just exactly what I needed to keep pushing through. And so the spiritual warfare that I have been experiencing has been on my job real heavy this week, but more specifically today, I felt like today it was just more of it was just coming down on me really hard today. Like, I felt myself reaching that breaking point, getting to that point where I felt like I just can't do this anymore. Today is going to be the day that I snap on somebody. Today is going to be the day that I quit this job. Like, I was there. I was literally there. I'm like, I can only be pushed so much. There's a saying that the old people used to say, even an iron wears out. I was there, okay? So, after, having my meltdown, because, I had one. I'm not gonna lie, I'm human. After having my meltdown and pouting and calling, I called my husband, thank God, for my husband being my strength, my backbone, my support. Y'all, when I say I got a good husband, God has truly, truly blessed me, because I can go to him and have my meltdown and I don't feel like I'm bugging him or getting on his nerves, or he just like, oh my God, here you go again. Like, I don't never get that energy from my husband. It's always like, babe, don't let that stuff get to you. Don't let that stuff stress you out. You won't be there much longer. God finna bless you with something better. Like, and I just thank God for him. And he's fasting this week with me. So when I go through these moments where I feel like the enemy is just on my back and I call him, I'm so glad that he's able to be there for me. And he knows, because he's fasting too. So I thank God for my husband. I had to just go ahead and just put that out there. But I called him and I let him know what was going on. And he heard some of it because I was actually on the phone with him while I was at work. I was sitting in my office, and me and him, we were just talking. And I was getting ready to go on my break. So that's why me and him, we were on the phone talking. And so he heard partial of the conversation, but I elaborated more when I got out to my car, got to myself, and I was able to really tell him what was going on and how this is something that has been going on for a while. And I told him, I was like, baby, I'm the type of person, like, I see a lot of stuff going on I see people, you know, plotting and having conversations and stuff behind my back, but I'm the type, I don't always address it. I never address it, honestly. Like, I just let people do what they do. I do what I do, because at the end of the day, I go to work is for a job purpose only. I'm not there to make friends. I'm not there. I don't care about your personal business, and I'm not sharing mine, because I don't trust people like that. People sometimes just want to get your tea and go spill it somewhere else. So I'm good. I stay to myself. But what I want to really talk about today, with it being day 4, is I don't want to elaborate on the negative. I want to tell you guys and share with you guys the revelation that God gave me, because after that went on, I finished my assignment for today, and I was like, you know what, I'm done with today. I'm just gonna go home. That's it. So it was like around 2:15. I was ready to go home. I said, I'm over. I'm going home. God spoke so profound in my spirit and told me, you are going back to work. Go back to work. Because what we're not doing today is running away from our problems, running away from these issues. God told me you already have the victory. God says the things that I was going through and dealing with on my job, God says it's minor to him. God says this stuff is frustrating to you, but God was telling me, stop worrying about it. Go back to work. Go to your desk. Get in the word. You have downtime. God said, go back and get the e-workbook that's downloaded and sit and read the lesson and do the journal for today. So that's what I did. I went back to work. I sat at my desk. I got the journal off my phone. Got my little journal. Yeah, my journal fell on the floor. I got it out and I sat there and I read 1 Samuel chapter 1 verses 1 through 20. And if you are not familiar with it, it's the story of Hannah. And I'm sure we all know the story of Hannah, so I don't have to go into details about what the passage is about. But as I was reading it the first time, I just kind of read through it. But when I started working in my journal, it made me go back and read the passage again from like a different view. So what it was saying in the journal, in the ebook, it was like, it asks, what is God speaking to you? What is God saying to you as you read this passage? And at first I was like, I don't know if I really relate to this passage or whatever, because I look at the story of Hannah and we all just think about how Hannah was barren and she wanted to have a baby, and you know, we know. So I was like, no, I don't know if I can relate to this. So I actually went back and I read it again. I read it a lot slower. I read it verse by verse. And that's a tip. If you are studying, if you are trying to get into the word, take your time. Take your time. Read it verse by verse. And really ask God to speak to you and really show you things that will stand out to you as you read. So as I'm reading the second time, when Hannah was in the temple praying, as she was praying and she was crying out to God about her situation and what she wanted from God, you know, the priest told her, go in peace. God has heard your prayers. And that's what really stuck out to me, because it's like I felt God telling me as I went back to work, as he was telling me, giving me the instructions to go back to work, he was telling me to go in peace. So that means check your heart posture. So I kind of had it on me in my heart. I wasn't saying it, but in my heart, I felt like if I go back to work, if anybody says anything to me, I'm just gonna snap. I'm just over it. Like, if anybody says anything out the way to me, I'm gonna snap. I'm gonna go off and I'm gonna quit. But in that, I felt God saying, no, you go back in peace. And God was letting me know, it was like confirmation that God has heard my prayers this week. God has heard the things that I have placed before him. And so God was saying that's why you have to stay in peace, because the minute that you lose your temper, the minute that you go off, God says you're going to get out of alignment with what I have asked you to do, because that's not of God. So God was telling me to really check my heart and to stay in a peaceful posture, even in the midst of me feeling like, you know, I'm going through everything that I'm going through on this job. And this job is not my place of peace. God was telling me to keep peace in my heart and to keep a peaceful posture. And so I had to, when I read that, I was like, okay, I got to check myself, because I felt like what was in my heart was not of peace, and it was not of God. Just because of my circumstances, just because of the day, you know, that I had, it was hard for me to think peacefully. And so it was also saying, like, in the journal, as I was going through it, it was talking about ways that you can relate to Hannah. And I thought about Hannah, and I thought about her situation. I also thought about my situation, and I tried to compare the two in a sense of how we feel when we're going through what we're going through. Because I thought about how I felt today. I felt isolated. I felt like nobody understands me. I feel like I have nobody at this job that truly supports me. I felt like, you know, everybody is against me. I also felt like I always end up getting the shorter end of the stick, even though I'm humble and I would give people, and I feel like I've ended up with absolutely nothing in return. Like, sometimes, like, I get to that point where that's how I feel. So in comparison to Hannah, I said she had to feel some type of isolation, because here you are in a situation, it's you and it's this other woman. This woman has everything that your heart desires, and you have to sit there and be taunted by that every day. And so her husband even also, you know, he knew that her desire was to have a son, but he tried to pacify the situation and tell her, well, at least you have me. Am I not greater than 10 sons? And it's like, that doesn't diminish it. It don't matter how good of a man. Like, when I read that, I was like, the nerve of a man. But I'm like, it doesn't matter how good of a man he was. It doesn't diminish what her heart desire was. She wanted more. She wanted a son. And so, you know, I thought about how she may have felt like, in comparison to the other woman, she felt insufficient. She felt like she wasn't good enough. She felt like she was giving God her all, but she was getting the shorter end of the stick. And I said, that's how I feel today. I feel like, God, I'm here. I'm fasting. I'm praying. I'm doing what you're asking me to do, but I'm ending up getting the shorter end of the stick. I'm the one that's left without. I'm the one that's getting disrespected, God. I'm like, what more do you want from me? And I feel like I could feel Hannah's emotions through what she was going through and having to deal with that on a daily basis, because this is a lot of stuff that I have been dealing with on a daily basis on my job. And so I feel isolated. And I said, I know Hannah had to feel some form of isolation, because you're trying to explain to your support system, to your husband, because she couldn't go to the other woman and talk to her, but she was supposed to be able to go to her husband, and her husband is diminishing the situation. And sometimes that's why you have to be careful who you vent to, because everybody don't understand your heart's desire. Everybody doesn't understand that everybody doesn't go through things the same way. The way you deal with something may be totally different from the way I would deal with it. It may not bother you. The things that I'm going through on my job, you could be going through on yours, and you don't pay no attention. It don't bother you. You go on. But for some of us who deal with things differently, it hurts differently. It's a different type of hurt. And so that's how I related to Hannah in this passage. And it was so good to me when I went back and I took time and I actually studied studied the passage, and I thought about it, and I thought about my situation, and it's amazing to me how God broke it down for me in a different sense, because this is a passage that I have read many times before. It wasn't my first time ever reading it, but to just see it in this, from this point of view, I know it's nobody but God speaking and showing me this, and just confirming to me that he has heard my prayers. So I just had to share that, because that was so good to me. It was just, it's like a weight was just completely lifted. Like, I feel like I can go on through the rest of my day now and put the past behind me, because it's in the past. And I know God is working in my favor, and I know that the enemy is mad because he sees my future, and he wants to get me sidetracked. He wants to get me, just completely off focus. He wants me to lose my temper. But God is telling me to go in peace. And I really hope that this word is not just for me, because I really wanted to share it. But when I share something, I want to share it in hopes that the way that it blessed me, that it blesses somebody else. Because we're all out here going through things. We're living life. Life is lifing. Life is lifing. So I want to share it in hopes that it touches somebody else's spirit, and they're able to say, I can push on just a little while longer. So that's it. That's all I want to come on here and say. I'm gonna go ahead and get off here because I am driving. I'm headed home. This is day 4. I have one more day left of the forgiveness fast. It's not too late, y'all. If y'all want to join in on the forgiveness fast, the link is going to be in the description box, as well as my other video is linked there as well. Prophetess Ashley Brown. This is a nationwide virtual fast. So anybody can join. It's completely free. The ebooks are free. The ebooks are good. Even if you don't do the fast, y'all, the ebooks are so worth it. They are so worth it. I mean, I'm not like just promoting it, but the ebooks are really life-changing. Like, if you take the time and go through it and spend time in the word and actually do what the workbooks say. The workbooks are free too. The workbooks by themselves are worth, she could have charged and gotten her money worth out of it. But go and get it. Go and get it. If you need something to do throughout the day or in your quiet time, I highly recommend it. But anywho, that's it, y'all. I'm about to get off of here. Thank y'all so much for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't. And I'm gonna see y'all in my next video. Y'all be safe out there. Be blessed.